Hello, folks. This is your roaming gnome ticker guy coming at you from somewhere where YouTube can be uploaded to. It's your podcast update for the 7th Monday. As promised, this is going to focus on Ukraine and two links that are in the ticker article. The first one is a piece from Oliver Stone's 2016 Ukrainian documentary. And it points out that Joe Biden and by the way, cheered on by John McCain, were part and parcel of the overthrow of Ukraine's government and its replacement with the government that is there now. Anyone that had more than two nickels to rub together worth of IQ had to know that doing that was going to lead to Russian intervention on an immediate basis because Russia's only 12-month deepwater naval port was in Crimea, and they were never going to give that up. Well, that is exactly what happened. But in addition, we now have a 5-year-long, essentially civil war in the eastern part of the country because there is a decided attempt by Putin and Russia to essentially section off that part of the nation, and an awful lot of the Ukrainians in that part of the country would like to do that. They happen to be people with very strong ethnic ties to Russia. Well, we did this, folks, but not just we, specifically. Someone who wants to be president of the United States, Joe Biden, did this. There are 10,000 plus some Ukrainians that are dead as a consequence of our unlawful and outrageous interference in their political process. And we're worried about them interfering in ours. This, by the way, is not the first time we've done this. As I'm sure you're aware, maybe you're not if you're a little too young, we overthrew the democratically elected government of Iran. We did it because Britain was cheesed off that one of their companies, specifically BP, had had their assets expropriated by the government, the democratically elected government. So we overthrew it. Our CIA did that, fomented a revolution there essentially, and we installed the Shah. That, to a large degree, is likely why Iranians chant death to America all the time. Gee, I wonder why after we threw their democratically elected government out in the streets. It might have something to do with them being a little on the crazed side about America, wouldn't you think? And by the way, that's not the only place we've done it either. Not just Iran, not just in Ukraine. There's all sorts of Southern American nations where this sort of thing has gone on. Who remembers Iran-Contra? Iran-Contra wasn't just about guns. It was also about the CIA running drugs from Central America as a funding source back into the United States, which then, of course, will use to poison Americans. Yes, that's right. Our own foreign intelligence service, if you will, ran drugs into the U.S., used the money to fund their illicit activities, and, by the way, that killed a bunch of people here in this country and addicted them. But, you know, addicted, not so bad, right? Right? Not so bad? Killed is bad. But addicted, you know, from their point of view, you know, it's just the cost of the conflict. Yeah, okay. So who thinks that this whole impeachment thing is just about Hunter Biden and bribes? I remind you that John McCain was very much in favor of this intervention, and very vocally so. Of course, he's dead, so we can't put him on trial for this. Now, there's another problem here. All right, yes, Joe Biden, his son, you know, he got his $50,000 a month. That's, you know, $60,000 a year, plus bonuses, plus whatever, probably $1 million a year all in for a couple of years as a board member. And then you got Mitt Romney's, you know, staffer from his 2012 election bid that, you know, he was over there as a board member too. Joe Biden saying, oh, no, I never talked to anybody about this. I know nothing about it. But there's photographs of him playing golf with these guys with their arms around him. Hey, you know, I only play golf with people. I never talk to them when I'm actually playing golf. I don't say a word. That's the only word you hear. Yeah, right. Okay, pull the other one, boys and girls. No, but if you think this is just about money, let's wind the clock back a little bit, because it's not just about money. You know, the very justification that Donald Trump and Bill Barr and everybody else have going over there right now in our Justice Department in looking into this is a treaty. A treaty that says that those things which would be crimes in both countries are to be cooperated upon including document production, subpoenas, depositions, arrests, and, if necessary, extraditions. So let's think about this for a moment here. We have a formal treaty between the United States and Ukraine, which was put together by one Bill Clinton quite a long time ago. And then we have a certain presidential candidate who, it appears, attempted to interfere and did interfere at the behest of his boss, President of the United States, Barack Obama, directly in Ukrainian political affairs, led to the overthrow of the Ukrainian government, in part, and the installation of the government as there now. Well, I suspect that that sort of a thing, especially when 11,000 people, plus or minus, get killed as a consequence of it, and a large swath of your land is threatened with being annexed by another country. Some has already been annexed. There's talk about secession and carving off part of your nation's land to be an autonomous region that then ends up owned by somebody else effectively. There just might be some laws that would bear on that. And the treaty says that we both have to cooperate with each other. Now, of course, who really believes that Joe Biden is going to be extradited over to the Ukraine to stand trial for a seditious conspiracy, or even maybe treason, be tried and punished? I sort of doubt it. I mean, punishment, well, treason, that could be kind of bad, right? But who really thinks that we're going to, take people like Brennan? I don't know. Brennan might have been involved in something like this. There might be some other people too, maybe Barry. Barry Obama. That'd be damned inconvenient if there was an arrest warrant issued for him. Anyone that thinks that digging down in this rabbit hole, as I pointed out, there's all kinds of rabbit holes that go down into the ground with this thing. There's the Mitt Romney guy that was also involved with the board of this energy company. There's the fact that there appears to be more than one energy company involved when it comes to some of this stuff, and more than one scandal. And I'm not, this is a money thing though for the most part. We're talking about something that I think is much more serious than that. We're also talking. You can also talk about Pelosi's son, who appears to have been involved in a bunch of stuff. Funny how the nexus all seems to go through the Ukraine. Funny how there's all of these billions of dollars of aid that have gone over there, and there are some estimates that anywhere from several hundred million to as much as a couple of $1 billion has just disappeared. Gee, I wonder where it all went. That's all really bad, and digging all that up and running it down and figuring out exactly who's involved in it, that could be very embarrassing and very ugly, especially if there's criminality involved, because again, that damn treaty requires that we actually cooperate and turn people over, including presidential candidates. Hello, Joe, and their sons. Let's see, Pelosi. Oh yeah, not Nancy. What's the son's name? Paul, right? I think it's Paul. And then of course you got Hunter, and who knows how many other people. But that pales beside the possibility that there's actual criminal conduct related to interference in the political affairs of a foreign state. And I don't know what Ukrainian law says on this, but I'm reasonably sure that sort of activity in the United States would be considered sedition, or something awfully close to it. I mean, after all, you're trying to overthrow the government, potentially. Well, at least in the Ukrainian case, it actually ended up being attempted overthrow by force, guns. Now, remember, Russia did come in there and start shooting, and they shot back. So there's guns involved, which meets the requirements. We may very well have fomented that. And if there's culpability there could be a real problem. Again, given that there's a formal treaty here. Folks, the United States has no right to do this kind of thing. We've been at it for 50-some years. And perhaps, just perhaps, Donald Trump stepping on the Yellow Jackets' nest in the ground wasn't so much about just bribery. I mean, after all, mere bribery goes on every single day in the halls of Congress and lobbying organizations on K Street. Good Lord, look at the pharmaceutical and medical industry. Who has ever gone to jail in the United States for bribing Congress? Please. There's so many felonies that go on every single day under 15 United States Code Chapter 1 that I can't even count them. Now, this is more. And maybe the more is found there. Maybe that's why everybody's so cheesed off and wants to impeach Donald Trump. Well, I am no Trump fan. But you know what? Somebody needs to call BS on the practice of unelected career bureaucrats deciding that governments are not legitimate and don't deserve to exist, and we have the right to go into those foreign nations and tamper with their political process anytime we damn well please. No, we do not. We have, but no, we do not. And if, in fact, there were laws violated, Ukrainian laws, by any of this activity, given the fact that there is a formal treaty between our nations, the people responsible need to be held to account, even if they're candidates for president of the United States. I'm your ticker guy, and that's my view.